Hi, this is Nathan Lehman with the Ultra Running Company, and today we are going to review the Hoka Carbon X. Let's jump right into it. The Hoka Carbon X is basically Hoka's response to everyone else trying to come up with a high cushion shoe that people can run very quickly in. They introduced it to a lot of fanfare just a couple weeks ago, and it comes out for general consumption on June 1st. So we were able to get a couple of pairs early, do a little bit of running in them, and we wanted to share our opinions. So basically what you have here is a very highly cushioned, very light shoe with a carbon plate going through the middle of it. So let's look at this first from an Ultra Running Company standpoint and then break down all the nuances of it. For the Ultra Running Company, this is a comfort cushioned, low drop road running shoe. So let's take that piece by piece. First, the comfort cushion part, and this is going to be most of our conversation today. Comfort cushion comes from a whole ton of cushion underneath your foot. In the case of the Carbon X, that's 32 millimeters under your heel and 27 millimeters under your forefoot. That difference of 5 millimeters means that it's a low drop shoe. So at 5 millimeters, the Carbon X is a relatively, comparatively flat shoe. But what I'm going to tell you about this shoe is the drop doesn't matter, and I've never said that before in a shoe review because I'm a huge fan of looking at the drop and seeing how that impacts you. But in this particular shoe, because of the way it's made, the drop is one, very hard to measure, and two, somewhat insignificant because what you're trying to do in this shoe is land here in the midfoot and roll very quickly forward. I'll get back to that in just a little bit. When we measured this shoe, we came up with about 6 different drops for the shoe, ranging everywhere from about 8 millimeters down to about 4. And the reason for that is this shoe is exceptionally rockered, and the rocker starts way back behind your toe box. And so what that means is, while it is a 5 millimeter drop from here to here, if you were to actually measure it, it would actually cant slightly forward, which would make the drop even more, if that makes sense. So the only time you're going to get that 5 millimeter drop is when it's resting on its heel here and it goes straight forward to there. So again, somewhat inconsequential with this shoe. Now let's really dig into that comfort cushion part, because for the first time, this is not what I would call a comfortable, pillowy comfort cushion shoe. The reason for that is because in between the midsole here, Hoka has put a carbon fiber plate. You can actually see it if you look on the bottom. They've put in some basically vanity holes right here. I think they'd probably claim that that's to save weight. We'll get to the weight in a minute, but I would say that's more so that you can see that there is in fact a carbon fiber plate. This is something Hoka's actually been playing with. I have an old model of some shoes that they brought to us about 5 years ago, a track spike that had a carbon fiber plate in it. So this is something they've been really playing around with for quite a while, but it definitely was made popular with the Nike 4% shoe in the last year or so. So Hoka may seem like they're jumping on a bandwagon on this. I don't think that's the case. They've been trying to figure out how to make a comfort cushion shoe more responsive for quite a while, and this is kind of the finest example they've come up with so far. So basically that carbon fiber plate runs from the heel all the way to your forefoot. That's something that was definitely missing on the Nike 4% shoe. It made it a little bit less laterally stable. Hoka's really been talking about the stability of this shoe, I think to offset the lack of stability in the 4% shoe. The Vaporfly, I guess I should call it, but everyone thinks of it as the 4% shoe. This is no more stable than any other Hoka. The way Hoka gets their stability is you've got got this huge midsole that actually goes up around your ankle and around the rest of your foot. They call it a bucket, and you sit down inside it. So all Hokas are inherently stable in that you're not going to move a whole lot to the right or to the left, or in your case, to the right or to the left. You're gonna sit right in it. The carbon fiber plate adds a huge amount of consistency to that. So what you're getting in this shoe is an absolutely inflexible shoe that wants to roll forward in the shape of that curved plate and the rockered bottom. So the idea here is that the Hoka wants to promote kind of the transition from this midfoot position into a forefoot position. Dig in a little bit on the bottom. This is what we call a rubberized sole, which means there are no carbon-based rubber pieces put all over it. That's to reduce weight. The black pieces of rubber or colored rubber that you usually see on the bottom of a shoe, the high abrasion rubber, you really don't need it in this shoe. The whole sole has been rubberized, which means they mixed the carbon rubber with the traditional foam and made the whole thing a little bit more durable. Obviously we haven't run in this pair. In the ones that we've run in, this tends to last very well. We think this is going to be a nice long life shoe. We'll certainly put something in the comments section if we find out anything other than that over lifetime testing. But as you look at this shoe, there's definitely some nods to marketing here. You've got a huge roll on the back. I guess this would be so if you land on your heel, you would roll off of it, but this is kind of absurd. There's no reason to have something like this on the back of your shoe. If you're landing on your heel, you don't need a go fast racing shoe. The very act of landing at this dramatic an angle would pretty much stop you in your spot during a race. And probably what you'd want to do is go back, work on your form a bit, and then come back later on in your career to a shoe like this that's designed to make you go faster. So this is kind of superfluous in my mind. It looks interesting, it's on trend, but we'd ignore it if we could. We think it adds just a little bit of weight here that probably isn't necessary. The goal of this shoe is not to be the lightest shoe out there. It's to take this highly cushioned concept and help you move faster in that. So definitely ignore that part. As you go forward, a huge roll here that really pops you off, probably more than any shoe we've ever felt. This is not a walking around shoe. It just wouldn't be comfortable to wear for all day unless you were running in it, but it is a great shoe once you get up to speed. Our suggestion would be that if you're running a 10-12 minute mile, find something else to wear. This is not the shoe that will reward you or make you any faster for that matter at that pace. When you get up to the in a long race, 9 minute miles, 10, 8, 7. This is a shoe that's really going to reward you by moving you forward. Looking at the weight of this shoe, the Carbon X is 7.2 ounces for a women's size 7. It's 8.7 ounces for a men's size 10, and for my flippers, this is a 10.2 ounce shoe. Now we always talk about 10 ounces as being kind of the breaking point. In a size 13 like I wear, there aren't many shoes that are going to be under 10 ounces. This is a very lightweight shoe for what it is, and so what that means though, at 10 ounces, this is not a super fast track day shoe. This is probably not even a 5K type shoe. This is when you start getting up into a little bit more mileage that you're going to get the rewards on this particular model. As we move up from the cushion, the whole story of this shoe is really the cushion. So very briefly, what you have is a very nicely fitting upper. This material is a consistent woven material. It's a mesh, and that mesh doesn't have any seams. It's lightweight. It fits very well. We notice when we put it on our feet, there is a little bit of crinkling on the side, so it's not going to hug your foot all around, but we really like that. It gives you plenty of room in the toe box for probably all but the widest feet. Hoka's done a nice job with their Evo line, as well as with this Carbon X, of giving a shoe with a more tapered shape a little bit more room in the toe box. So So basically, this will allow you to put it on, know that you're going to be locked in around your ankle and over your instep, and then have some room to move, which is really a best case scenario, especially the further you're running. We've seen this shoe now on the feet of some record-breaking performances. It's designed to be able to go a long way. We think we're comfortable in this on some very long runs, but again, it does reward you for having an efficient stride and rolling off the front. If on your longer runs you start to land on your heel a bit more, the shoe will still be nice for that, but you'll get the reward as you roll off the front. So for your longer races, I would say probably a 10K or longer. There may be even better options for that 6.2 mile 10K run, but anything longer than that, this is really going to reward you and probably give you some comfortable, fast miles as you go. With all of those differences, with the carbon fiber plate, this is not an inexpensive shoe. It's $180, which is the top of Hoka's line, but if you're going to compare it to other shoes with that carbon technology, if you're going to compare it to the shoes that it's going to be slotted next to from a marketing standpoint, those are all going to be well over $200. So, and they're also probably not going to last as long as this shoe lasts. So at 180 bucks, you're getting a pretty solid value, a shoe that should last you hundreds of miles, a shoe that will be comfortable and fast for those hundreds of miles, and a shoe that comes in well south of 200 bucks. So from our perspective, for those longer races, we think you should go for it. For a shorter race, or if you're just building up speed, probably go with the more traditional shoes in the Hoka lineup. And if you're going to be running a 5K or a 10K, we think while you could certainly wear this shoe, we think you might want to consider the Hoka Evo Rehi, and we hope you'll check out our review of that shoe right down the line. If you have any questions or if you have particular comments on this review, please leave them in the comment section. We try and respond as quickly as possible, although we do have a day job, so sometimes it takes us a little bit to do that. But we love your feedback. We love your constructive comments. We'll take your criticism, and we'll try and do better every single time we do a review. So thanks for tuning in. Learn to love to run. Check us out at ultrarunningcompany.com and let us know what you think.